The Assistant United States Attorney prosecuting the case, Dominic Gentili, made clear that video was going to be a feature of any trial, along with his writings, the murder weapon found in his bag, and eyewitness accounts of the shooting. We have never heard from an eyewitness that saw the shooting. We know there were people around, as seen on video, who were there on West 54th Street by the hotel, but we have never heard from them publicly. Apparently, federal prosecutors were prepared to bring some of them forward. All of this was too much for Brian Thompson's widow to hear. She began to break down. She needed consolation from members of her family. For Mangione's supporters, this was also a moment to break down. In the hallway, they were seen crying and hugging each other, their mouths agape. Someone they have come to support over the last 18 months, to the point even some of them defending Thompson's murder, now left understanding that Mangione is pleading guilty and will be a convicted murderer.
Aaron, now his sentencing in this federal trial is scheduled for December 18th. How does that factor into the timeline for the state trial, which is set to start next month?
We'll hear shortly, I would imagine, from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office about what they intend to do with the state trial, but it's almost impossible to believe that September 8th would go forward. The Manhattan DA's office and the defense attorneys are going to want to understand what the sentence is before they go forward. Will Brian Thompson's family be satisfied that it's a just sentence, or is there a need for more? And that may influence the course of events. We're going to hear a moment from now from the New York City Police Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, who was there on the pier in Lower Manhattan when Mangione was brought back from Pennsylvania. We're going to hear from the U.S. Attorney, James McDonald, newly sworn, was not the U.S. Attorney when charges were brought, but oversees the prosecution. We're going to hear from the FBI, the special agent in charge, the assistant director in charge here in New York, Jim Barnacle, all of whom were convinced from the start this was the right person and that he deserves justice.
All right, Aaron Katersky, Matt Rivers, Shauna Lloyd, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you all. And we will have more updates right here on ABC News Live throughout the day. Thanks for joining us. I'm Diane Macedo. We have more news for you right after the break.
What's the most honored and awarded streaming news program?
This is ABC News Live Prime. We're tracking several stories breaking this evening. In the flood zone, the painstaking search for the missing continues.
Wherever you stream, Linsey Davis is right there for you.
From Paris, here at the Vatican, from Washington, D.C., here at Notre Dame Cathedral. So impressive.
Newsmaking spotlight interviews you'll only see here, exclusive.
Chaos breaks out. Your husband is whisked away. What did that moment feel like for you?
ABC News Live Prime, the hottest stars as you haven't seen, holding nothing back.
That's a really real question you ask.
And always ready to go there.
Many people have said you all are Hollywood's most enduring bromance.
Yeah. It's the Emmy-nominated show you're just gonna love.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
Prime with Linsey Davis.
All right.
Stream ABC News Live Prime, wherever you stream.
Gird your loins.
You got it, dude.
Set your mind to rewind with throwbacks from Disney Plus and Hulu.
Oh, snap, sweet niblets.
Celebrate the good times.
Picture this. Sicily. Sing to me, Paolo. Freedom.
Remember the best lines.
You're nasty. You jump, I jump, Jack. Honey, you never looked better.
Then, now, and always.
The best of both. You know the best of both.
That's all.
All your favorite throwbacks from Disney Plus and Hulu. Now totally streaming.
Now you can listen to a podcast version of This Week, available free wherever you listen. ABC News Live, winner of 3 prestigious Emmy Awards, including for outstanding live breaking news coverage. Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Hey, I'm Maggie Rulli in Iceland, reporting on a rare total solar eclipse. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Live reporting, breaking new exclusives. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
A
remarkable turn and stunning admission in a murder case that shocked New York City and captivated the country. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips from our nation's capital. Luigi Mangione admitting he killed UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson just moments ago. Mangione pleading guilty to 2 federal charges on stalking in connection to Thompson's murder in December of 2024. Each federal charge carrying a maximum sentence of life in prison. But with Mangione's state murder trial expected to start just weeks from now, questions are still growing over what this plea could mean for that case. Let's get straight to Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky and our legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer. So, Aaron, let's first just talk about what it was like to hear Mangione admit to this murder there in court, and then what was the reaction from everyone inside the room?
There was stunned silence as members of Brian Thompson's family entered the courtroom. They had never been here before for any of the proceedings, and there was his widow breaking down in tears as Mangione himself walked in under the escort of the U.S. Marshals. It became too much, and she needed consolation with an arm around her shoulder from members of Thompson's family. And then to hear him say, "I shot Brian Thompson in Manhattan, and I knew what I did was illegal." That was the moment where Luigi Mangione became an admitted murderer after stalking Brian Thompson. And Kira, we learned some new details about how he did it. He learned that there was going to be an investor conference for UnitedHealthcare. He said after suffering back pain and the ails of the health insurance system, even though he was not a customer of UnitedHealthcare, but he said he duped UnitedHealthcare into disclosing the location of that investor conference, which was not publicly known, by posing as an investor with $50 million in capital to spend. We're going to hear shortly from his lawyers about his decision to plead guilty, and the police, the prosecutors, and the FBI about how all of this unfolded.
So, Brian, as a defense attorney, what do you make of, this admission to murder?
I think it's necessary in order to get the plea agreed upon by the judge. What you heard is what we call a plea allocution. And the judge wants to hear from the defendant, especially in the Southern District of New York, how that works.
All right, let's get straight to the presser just outside court.
With today's guilty plea, Mr. Mangione has accepted full responsibility for the death of Brian Thompson, arising from the events of December 4th, 2024, outside of the UnitedHealthcare Investor Conference here in Midtown Manhattan. It was a single tragic event, yet he's being prosecuted twice for the same conduct. As Luigi explained in court today, he endured years of severe, debilitating pain following a broken back while struggling to navigate our healthcare and health insurance systems. Like the thousands of people who've reached out since this tragedy to share their own experiences, he believed that the system had failed him and destroyed his life. Despite this being a single isolated event, Mr. Mangione has been unfairly treated since the outset in every way and has successfully fought off terrorism charges and the death penalty, while also fighting at the same time 2 simultaneous prosecutions in 2 jurisdictions who are trying to punish him twice for the exact conduct. He's been treated differently from every other defendant charged with this offense in New York. However, thankfully, New York law does not allow this. New York law does not permit a person to be prosecuted and punished twice for the exact same crime under a statute that governs successive prosecutions. It's also known as the double jeopardy law. Today's guilty plea triggers this statute, and we just filed our motion in state court explaining why the state charges must be dismissed under New York's double jeopardy protections. We will not be taking any other questions. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, Brian, I want to take it straight to you because we've been talking about double jeopardy ever since we got word that this plea was going to happen today. We sort of expected that this is what we were going to hear from Mangione's defense lawyers. And I know, Aaron, if you want to try and grab Mangione's lawyer there that we just heard from, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, go for it. I can vamp with Brian if you need to do that. So, Brian, let's take it back now to double jeopardy protection. We heard it right there from Mangione's legal team. We expected this, right?
Absolutely. I think this was the only play that made sense, and it is a long shot, but it is probably the strongest argument they have. And this is how I'll explain it. I'll make it so that all of you guys are experts in double jeopardy by the end of this. Double jeopardy stands for the concept that you cannot be charged for the same crime, and I'm emphasizing crime, twice. The way that the law has made this out, both in state and federal court, is that where there are two different jurisdictions, federal and state, and different crimes, that is not double jeopardy. Now, New York State has a more specific law that goes beyond that, and that's what they're trying to figure out, if this is double jeopardy.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question, but I want to get right back to Aaron, because Aaron, apparently you just got your hands on this statement as well from Thompson's family.
Brian Thompson's family, who had never been here at court, Kira, issued a statement moments after Luigi Mangione pleaded guilty and, as his attorney said, accepted responsibility for killing Thompson, saying that today's guilty plea marks an important step toward justice for Brian and for our family. While nothing will ease the pain of losing him, we are grateful that the federal justice system has held the person responsible for this heinous act accountable. Now we look to the court to ensure that sentencing reflects the severity of this crime. We remain mindful that additional proceedings in New York and Pennsylvania are still to come, and we will continue to seek the justice Brian deserves. That statement on behalf of Brian Thompson's family. I think it's interesting to note a couple of things there. They note that there are other prosecutions in the works, but the family does not make a statement as to whether they believe what happened here in federal court is sufficient justice. It seems as though they will wait to see what sentence federal judge Margaret Garnett hands down later in December during a sentencing hearing.
And Aaron, just to put in perspective what's around you and the people that are there, the security, we were seeing images of I don't know if it was lawyers or you know, what specific people were sort of being taken into side doors with massive security teams, but I could hear the helicopters above you. Okay, who is this? All right, we're getting ready for another live. Okay, we've got NYPD commissioner on one side. Guys, let me know if you know who this team is coming before the mics right now. Aaron, if you are able to see or you know, feel free to jump in.
Yeah. Look, sure, Kira, we're hearing from Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner of the city of New York, Jim Barnacle of the FBI, and the U.S. Attorney James McDonald.
Southern District of New York. At 6:45 on a December morning, Luigi Mangione stalked and murdered Brian Thompson in cold blood on a public sidewalk in Midtown Manhattan. Just a few moments ago, Mangione pled guilty to his heinous act. This was not a spontaneous act of violence. It was deliberate, calculated, and premeditated. In the days leading up to the murder, the defendant very carefully prepared for the attack. He tracked Mr. Thompson's whereabouts, conducted surveillance along the route he knew Mr. Thompson would take, and positioned himself to carry out the plan. Then, on a sidewalk on West 54th Street, the defendant murdered Mr. Thompson, shooting him from behind with a 9mm handgun equipped with a silencer. He shot Thompson twice at close range. The second shot came as Mr. Thompson turned and faced the defendant. The defendant did this as everyday New Yorkers walked nearby, and while the rest of the city woke up to start their day. Mangione then ran away, leaving Mr. Thompson to die. The defendant committed this murder in an attempt to draw public attention to his dislike of certain businesses. But we live in a civilized society governed by the rule of law. We debate, we disagree, we protest. We do not commit murder. No grievance, political belief, or ideological cause can ever justify murder. There can be no celebrity in assassination. Any person who celebrates, encourages, or excuses actions like these is fundamentally wrong. Mangione attempted to send a public message through violence, but the message that emerges today is very different. Violence is not a legitimate instrument to promote any political or social message. And those who resort to violence in an effort to advance their beliefs will be prosecuted, convicted, and put in jail. Today, the Southern District of New York, together with our law enforcement partners, writes the final chapter of Mangione's federal prosecution. Now, he stands convicted in federal court and faces life in prison. One other point that's important to note. While the defendant pled guilty, our office does not have a plea agreement with him. Instead, he pled open, which means he pled guilty to all pending counts in the indictment. There are no accommodations or concessions, and we are free to seek the maximum penalty under the law. I'd like to thank the dedicated prosecutors of our office's Violent Organizations and Crime Unit, who are beside me, for their remarkable efforts to bring this case. I would also like to thank the NYPD and the FBI, whose tireless and incredibly sophisticated investigative efforts made this conviction possible. Finally, I want to express on behalf of all of us here our deepest sympathy and compassion for the many family members and friends of Brian Thompson. Mr. Thompson's family and many of his friends were in court for the guilty plea today. I know they will have an opportunity to be heard at sentencing. We all stand in awe of their love for their family and for their friend, and their unwavering commitment to seeing justice done in this case. We hope they can take some solace in the fact that from the beginning, we have brought the full force of the federal government to bear in this case. In this prosecution, we have consistently pursued the maximum penalties under the law as necessary and just punishment for these crimes. The result achieved today now allows our office to seek the maximum penalty allowed, life imprisonment, which, as I've conveyed to Mr. Thompson's family, is what we intend to seek. I'll now turn it over to Commissioner Tisch.
Good afternoon. Thank you, U.S. Attorney McDonald, and thank you to the prosecutors and the federal law enforcement partners who have worked alongside the New York City Police Department throughout this case. Today, Luigi Mangione pleaded guilty in connection with the murder of Brian Thompson on a Midtown Manhattan sidewalk in December of 2024. This is an important moment of accountability, and my thoughts remain first and foremost with Mr. Thompson's family and everyone who knew and loved him. But I also want to take a few minutes today to recognize the extraordinary police work that brought us here. From the moment that Mr. Thompson was assassinated on the morning of December 4th, the NYPD mobilized an enormous investigative effort. Our detectives combed through thousands of hours of surveillance video, followed up on hundreds of tips, and worked through an extraordinary volume of forensic and digital evidence. They used some of the most sophisticated technology available to law enforcement, and they paired it with the kind of painstaking, old-fashioned detective work that has defined the New York City Police Department for generations, interviewing witnesses, canvassing neighborhoods, retracing the suspects' movements, and pursuing every viable lead. Most importantly, they developed a clear image of the man we were looking for and got that image out to the public and to law enforcement agencies across this country 5 days after the murder. That work paid off in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where an alert member of the public recognized Mangione and local police took him into custody. That was not simply a lucky break. It was the culmination of 5 days of relentless investigative work that gave the public the information it needed to recognize the suspect and gave our law enforcement partners what they needed to act. This case began with the worst kind of violence on our streets. It was answered by the very best of the New York City Police Department. To every member of the NYPD who played a role in this investigation, you should be enormously proud for bringing us to this day. And to those who idolize Luigi Mangione, I say this: violence is not a cause, murder is not a message, and a killer is certainly not a hero. Now I'd like to introduce the FBI's Assistant Director in Charge for the New York Field Office, Jim Barnacle.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good day. My name is James Barnacle. I'm the Assistant Director in Charge of the FBI New York Field Office. I want to begin by addressing the family, friends, and colleagues of Brian Thompson. We had the chance to sit down with the family this morning, and they are still grieving, and they have been grieving for almost 2 years as Brian was taken away in the most heinous way possible. They lost a son, a brother, a husband, and a father, and a friend to many colleagues and other people. The family deserves closure, the clarity, and the assurance that every step taken throughout our investigation, the New York City Police Department's investigation, the Altoona Police Department's investigation, and the U.S. Attorney's Office prosecution reflected the gravity of the situation and the importance of Brian's life. While today's plea doesn't replace the void he left behind, I hope it offers a glimmer of the closure that the Thompson family and friends deserve. This tragedy shocked the nation and left a deep impact on everyone it touched. Violence driven by hostility toward opportunity and success stands in sharp contrast to the values true Americans hold dear. But rest assured, this FBI and our partners never stopped working to bring this killer to justice. While a plea was entered today, we know the crime has not been erased. Thank you to the FBI's Violent Crime Task Force, our largest partner on that task force, the New York City Police Department, the New York State Police Department. Thank you to the prosecutors and the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, led by Jamie McDonald. Thank you. And I want to thank the officers and detectives of the New York City Police Department, led by Commissioner Tisch, for your agency's unwavering pursuit of truth and accountability. Thank you, Commissioner. I'd also like to thank the Altoona Police Department in Pennsylvania and the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections, who helped facilitate the extradition to New York. We're incredibly grateful to our partners, and we wish the Thompson family comfort and strength as the legal process continues. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All right. Well, we have now heard from defense attorneys and the prosecution. Of course, the next move here is the state case, which we well heard there from Jessica Tisch, the New York Police Commissioner, James Barnacle, who is the FBI special agent in charge there in New York, and also James McDonald, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, making it very clear that they are going to pursue life in prison. Let's bring back our Aaron Katersky, also Brian Buckmeyer, and that's sort of where our conversation was headed. Gentlemen, what's next? Brian, we were talking about the sentencing phase here and what would be next for the state case. I think they made it pretty clear what the next move is going to be.
Yeah, so I think the overall plan for the defense attorneys, and I think they've already hinted or might have even said it, that they've already filed in state court for arguments that this is double jeopardy. What they're talking about is a very specific law. If people want to look it up, it's Criminal Procedure Law 40.20, where it says that you can't be tried for the same action or transaction of crime unless the crimes that you're being charged with have different elements of the crimes, or that those actions enlist or suggest different actions themselves. When Mangione took the stand or stood up in court and said, I planned this out, I went from one state to another, I gave this false information to get Brian Thompson's location, and I committed this murder, those are a set of facts that are specific to stalking resulting in murder. Those set of facts are very different, and those elements are very different than what the state is arguing, which is murder in the second degree, the intent of killing someone and actually killing them. As I understand double jeopardy, and as every defense attorney that I've spoken to who actually practices in the state of New York and the Southern District of New York, we don't see this. But if Karen Agnifilo and the defense attorneys can do so, I applaud their efforts, and I wait to see how they try to pull this off.
Wow. Aaron, your thoughts?
Heads up.
I just got my hands on a motion to dismiss the state murder charges filed right now by Luigi Mangione's defense team. So mere moments after he sat in court here at Manhattan Federal Court and admitted to killing Brian Thompson, his attorneys have gone up the block, filed a motion to dismiss based on double jeopardy grounds. So they are wasting no time to try and get his state charges thrown out. No immediate response from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Kira, still going through this motion, which is several dozen pages, but the widespread argument, the basic argument is that it's double jeopardy to put him on trial again after he has already taken responsibility for killing Brian Thompson.
Well, feel free to continue to go through that motion, Aaron Katersky, since you just got it in real time. Brian Buckmeyer, your thoughts?
So I have not gotten the motion. I can't see what they're arguing, but the only thing that makes sense is I look back on cases like Paul Manafort in 2020 when he had a very similar situation, pled guilty in federal court, and actually did get the state charges dismissed. In that ruling, the judge said two things. One, it was fraud in the state court and fraud in the federal court. And the prosecutors could not distinguish different evils or harms between the state court and the federal court. Here, I don't see that argument. There's a different evil and harm, and I'm using that word because it's a legal term in the case law, from stalking a person across state lines and shooting and killing them. Those are different things that different jurisdictions would be invested in stopping. And so, again, as a defense attorney who practices in both these places, a part of me is hoping, yes, this does win, because I would love to see how this plans out. But as I understand the law, and without seeing the motions they filed, I don't see where the double jeopardy is, but I'll wait to see it.
Also, we're getting UnitedHealthcare is putting out a statement. Brian Thompson's life was cut short by an act of violence that devastated everyone who knew and loved him. We are grateful to law enforcement for bringing Brian's murder to justice, and our thoughts remain with Brian's family and loved ones during this difficult time. We also received a statement from the Thompson family. As we have reported, Paulette, his widow, it's the first time we've seen her in public. It's the first time that she was in the courtroom. She was sobbing inside that courtroom. And then Mangione stepped up and spoke openly in court. The statement coming from the Thompson family saying, now today's guilty plea marks an important step toward justice for Brian and for our family. While nothing will ease the pain of losing him, we are grateful that the federal justice system had held the person responsible for this heinous act accountable. Now we look to the court to ensure that sentencing reflects the severity of this crime. We remain mindful that additional proceedings in New York and Pennsylvania are still to come, and we will continue to seek justice that Brian deserves. Not only the motion did you just get your hands on, Aaron Katersky, but we are looking forward to continuing the proceedings that will take place. This is by far not the end of this story.
It is not the end of the story, Kira, but as far as his defense attorneys go, this is the end of his accountability. Because according to defense attorney Karen Friedman-Agnifilo, as you just heard a moment ago, she believes that Mangione has taken responsibility for killing Brian Thompson, admitted it in open court, and so sees no reason now to put him on trial for murder in state court. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has been prepared to move forward with a state trial. They believe that it would be in the interest of justice, would be justice for Brian Thompson's family. And I think we'll have to wait and see what the sentence is here that's meted out in December before anyone will know fully whether the state trial is going to go forward. But no sooner had Mangione pleaded guilty here in federal court than his lawyers went to state court and asked the judge to dismiss the murder indictment that exposed him to yet another period of life imprisonment.
Brian, your final thoughts on that motion that Aaron just got his hands on, also sentencing, and also the state case.
So I think this motion is filed at a time that they're going to try to have some sort of what's called injunctive release, asking the state court to pause their trial that's scheduled for September 8th until, one, a resolution on that motion, or two, until Luigi Mangione is sentenced in December of this year. The judge in state court has the ability to say, you created this mess? I'm not stopping this train because you did so. I can resolve this issue after the trial because we're all ready to go. We all have all the kind of pieces here. That's the thing that I'm looking to see. When it comes to the sentencing in December, I think the main thing that we're hearing, not only from this prosecutor's office in the SDNY, but also in the state court, they're looking at this as not just the run-of-the-mill stalking that resulted in death from someone who has no criminal history. They're looking at this of saying, you can't get justice this way. And when I'm in court in the state of New York and when I'm in court in the SDNY, that usually follows a very heavy suggestion of a lot of prison time, something close to the maximum. So I'm looking to see what they're going to ask for, what filings we're going to see. I'm waiting to see what this motion is that Aaron has as well, to see what arguments there are, to see if injunction will actually happen. But I think there's a lot of moving pieces. But so far, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for Luigi Mangione if this all works out in his favor. I just see a lot of mountain to climb before he gets there.
Brian Buckmeyer, Aaron Katersky, gentlemen, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. Much more news ahead.
All across America.
Good morning. Hello.
Wherever we are.
Welcome. It's good to be home.
It feels like home.
Hi. When's the last time we dropped our things and went? Woke up somewhere that we both never been. Growing up doesn't mean yet. Good morning. How are you?
At the start of the day, letting us into your home. Putting the good in your morning.
Man, it's good to be home.
GMA. It's an invitation to come together. Brighten your morning.
I'm George, how are you?
And the day ahead.
He used to be great.
I'm expecting you to help me train him, coach. Tell me what you do. You got no home, nowhere to go, but this gym keeps calling you.
If y'all can see past my mistakes, I promise you I'll give you everything I got. Let's go out with a bang. It's time to lock in.
Yes, coach.
Should we introduce you first?
Most people know me from Vanderpump Rules, but I'm a mom, a wife, a podcaster. I'm traumatized by reality TV, but I can't stay away from it.
It's like if they're not on your payroll, they don't get to be in your life. Am I here to ice anyone out?
When you said that,
Don't cut me off.
I showed up for you. This time I get to do it on my terms. What could go wrong?
House of Stassi, now streaming on Hulu.
ABC News honored winner of 8 Emmy Awards for excellence, more than any other news organization, and winner of a prestigious Peabody Award. Most honored, most watched. Thank you for making ABC News America's #1 news. Tonight,
we didn't know when and where he was going to strike again.
Police are looking for a Caucasian male in his early 30s.
We have a murderer on the loose.
It was a whodunit.
2020 true crime.
He did seem like your next door neighbor.
He talked about his bedroom looking similar to 50 Shades of Grey.
Now, the victim who was key to bringing him down.
We're rolling.
It was crazy.
I couldn't believe it.
2020, tonight on ABC, and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu. America's #1 news, ABC News, now streaming 24/7 on Disney Plus. Friday nights at 9 on ABC. Mean true crime.
True murder mystery.
Shocking.
Sex, betrayal, lies. A bombshell. The greatest true crime stories.
2020, Friday nights at 9. What's the most honored and awarded streaming news program?
This is ABC News Live Prime. We're tracking several stories breaking this evening.
Wherever you stream, Linsey Davis is right there for you.
So impressive.
Newsmaking spotlight interviews you'll only see here, and the hottest stars as you haven't seen.
Many people have said you all are Hollywood's most enduring bromance.
Yeah. Prime with Linsey Davis.
All right.
Stream ABC News Live Prime wherever you stream.
Sunday morning, with the midterms less than 80 days away, This Week takes to the road as the debate over the future of the Democratic Party dominates headlines on ABC's This Week.
Glad you're streaming with us. Some of the other top stories that we're tracking for you at the top of the hour. A plea from President Trump to the U.S. Supreme Court to allow the White House ballroom construction to continue. A lower court injunction set to take effect in a week would halt most of the work. The administration is asking for an emergency stay of that injunction after that court ruled the president lacks authority to overhaul the White House without congressional approval. A woman now under arrest accused of vandalizing a World War II memorial, in D.C. The U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro, saying in a social media post that Melissa Ferris faces 2 felony charges with a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. Ferris is accused of spray painting graffiti on part of the memorial, including one of the stone pillars honoring American service members. I'll talk about a photobomb. Grammy-winning singer Shabuzi just happened to be casually floating past a riverside wedding in Mammoth Lakes. And it's in California, by the way. It happened on the Owens River when he made that kind of unexpected cameo mid-ceremony. Shabuzi responding to the couple's Instagram post about it all, saying, "Congratulations." Well, now to the breaking news, a pretty remarkable turn and a stunning admission in a murder case that shocked New York City and it captivated the country. Luigi Mangione admitting that he killed UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson and then pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges of stalking in connection to Thompson's murder back in December of 2024. Mangione's defense team speaking outside of court, saying that the healthcare system failed him.
As Luigi explained in court today, he endured years of severe, debilitating pain following a broken back while struggling to navigate our healthcare and health insurance systems. Like the thousands of people who have reached out since this tragedy to share their own experiences, he believed that the system had failed him and destroyed his life.
Well, prosecutors fired back just a few moments later, urging the public not to idolize violence.
We live in a civilized society governed by the rule of law. We debate, we disagree, we protest. We do not commit murder. No grievance, political belief, or ideological cause can ever justify murder. There can be no celebrity in assassination.
Brian Thompson's family also in court today. Here they are leaving the courthouse. His widow, Paulette, it's the first time she's been seen in public and first time seen in the courtroom. Each of those federal charges, by the way, carrying a maximum sentence of life in prison. But with Mangione's state murder trial expected to start in just a few weeks from now, questions are growing over what this plea could actually mean for that state case. Let's get straight to Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky, also our legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer. All right, Aaron, let's just start with you and the reaction. What has it been to Mangione's guilty plea?
For his supporters, there was sobbing and open-mouthed astonishment. For Brian Thompson's family, there were tears and consolation. Luigi Mangione entered a Manhattan federal courtroom, sat at the defense table in beige jail garb, and read from a prepared statement admitting that he shot and killed Brian Thompson on a Manhattan street after tricking UnitedHealthcare into disclosing the location of its investor conference in December 2024. Mangione said he emailed the company posing as an investor with $50 million in capital, and he learned where Thompson would be on that fateful day, followed him around, and shot him in the back. His attorney said he has now taken responsibility and immediately filed to dismiss the remaining state indictment charging Luigi Mangione with Brian Thompson's murder. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office just seconds ago, Kira, said it is prepared to litigate that motion, meaning it's prepared to fight and to see Mangione put on trial in state court. He will be sentenced here in December, so any state trial may have to wait until then, so all sides can understand the severity of the punishment. He does now face life in prison as a possible sentence, Kira.
So Brian Mangione asked a judge to dismiss his state murder indictment on double jeopardy. Let's talk about that and how likely is that, and how could this impact the state case moving forward?
Yeah, so I'm just about 25 pages into a 35-page motion. And as I generally understand what the defense is arguing here, they're saying that this is a unique situation outside the bounds of your typical double jeopardy case, where they're saying that both the state and federal prosecution acted in tandem, almost as if they were one jurisdiction trying to prosecute Luigi Mangione. And then they're going through some of the exceptions and rules that are specific to New York. They take a very unique and very academic argument to it, one that I, again, applaud as a defense attorney. I would probably use many of these arguments in court myself, but these seem to be untested and don't seem to, at least in my view, fit along with the clear reading of the statute and at least some of the cases that I've had to argue in court when it comes to double jeopardy. But the Agnifolos are defense attorneys who are groundbreaking in terms of the arguments they make and have done things, I'm pointing to the Sean Combs case that we covered last year as well, that even I didn't think was possible. So I'm going to continue to review this, but I'm still hesitant to say that this is a good argument that I would put pleading guilty in federal court for and then hoping to get the state case to go away. I wouldn't put all of my eggs in this basket. It's still a lot to fight here.
Okay. Well, Brian, his admission to murder, how is that going to factor into all of this?
Yeah, so in my experience and an experience of others who I've spoken with is both the state and feds have been known to use admissions of guilt in one court against you in another court, whether it be for an investigation, for a trial, or even sentencing. Luigi Mangione didn't just say, I stalked Brian Thompson. He very clearly articulated new information that we didn't hear, like emailing UnitedHealthcare Group and trying to find out where Thompson would be and posing as a fake or wealthy investor. He also said that he took it upon himself in terms of his back pain and why he did this. These are things that the state court probably already knew about, but will definitely use, I think, in advancing. These are different crimes. One is stalking with the result of death. The other is murder and gun charges. And the defense is trying to get rid of the murder and gun charges because he pled guilty to stalking resulting in death.
Got it. All right, Aaron, what happens next?
What happens next is sentencing here in December, Kira. The judge said she would decide, and it would be her decision alone. There is no plea deal here. Luigi Mangione pleaded guilty to the indictment, and it's essentially a roll of the dice. He knows, as the judge informed him, that he could face the possibility of a life sentence in federal prison. There's no parole in the federal system. Defendants serve at least 85% of that sentence. It's possible there. And then we'll wait to see what happens in a courthouse up the block, whether his state murder prosecution moves forward. There is going to be some litigation because the defense wants the case dismissed. Manhattan District Attorney's Office says it's prepared to fight for it and to fight for what they call justice for Brian Thompson's family, who said today that there is a measure of justice after Mangione's guilty plea, but they know there are more prosecutions pending.
Brian Buckmeyer, Aaron Katersky, I really appreciate both of you. It's been a busy day. Thank you. Well, the other story that we're covering, of course, are the supply shortages, contaminated water, and serious mental health conditions. That's what just some of the sailors are reporting, what they're dealing with aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln. The aircraft carrier has more than 5,000 service members on deployment right now amid the war with Iran, and they haven't made a port call to land in nearly 9 months. The conditions reportedly so awful that families claim at least 2 sailors have now tried to jump off the ship. Here's what Military Times editor-in-chief J.D. Simpkins told me about what sailors are going through and what they're telling him.
The indefinite nature of what they are doing right now with the Lincoln and the lack of stopping at ports. I mean, I think the last time some of these sailors have stepped on solid ground was in December. That's absolutely insane. To go that long without a port call, without any type of mental refresh.
A U.S. official now confirming that one sailor did go overboard this month and was recovered. But Central Command insists that a spike in suicidal thoughts are false and that sailors remain resilient and resolved. Now sources telling us the USS George Washington is heading to replace the Lincoln as part of a long-planned rotation. Let's bring in our senior Pentagon reporter, Louis Martinez. So, Louis, what more are you learning today about the conditions on this ship and just the status of the mental health situation with our sailors?
Well, Kara, we've gotten more information about exactly what access sailors aboard the ship do have to mental health access. For example, we are told that there are 5 chaplains aboard, that there are 3 behavioral tech mental health analysts aboard, 1 psychologist. There's even a therapy dog by the name of Captain Fathom, who is available to any service member, any of the sailors aboard the carrier right now, who, in case they need anything, in terms of mental health access, and that access is provided to them 24/7. Yeah, as you mentioned, U.S. Central Command actually issued a what do you would call it, a claim last night, in terms of, they call it a true false claim, which we've seen a lot in this campaign against Iran. But what was really fascinating is that this was being directed at the claims being made by some of the families and that are appearing in print in some news outlets. And so, yes, very interesting to see this dynamic where the military has to thread a very fine line, because obviously, as we know, it is a very difficult enterprise to be aboard a carrier, 5,000 people, as we heard there, and for months at a time, operating 24 hours, shift operations, and yet hearing these complaints from family members and the concerns about the mental health of some of their loved ones. So it's a fine line when the military is essentially trying to come back with some facts that they try to claim that, yes, the situation is not as bad as is being portrayed by some of the family members.
It caught all of our attention. And Louis, I don't ever remember there being animals on aircraft carriers. Is this something that's new? I thought it was protocol that you couldn't have live animals on an aircraft carriers, especially while they're deployed out in the middle of the sea. And you may not even know the answer, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it really caught my attention when I was told about this.
Yes, Captain Fathom is a Labrador, and he is a service dog. He is a therapy dog. And Kara, I must tell you that at the Pentagon, when I was covering there in person, yes, I would routinely see therapy dogs or service dogs in the halls of the Pentagon. It is an accepted practice to have them in military bases. And of course, the Pentagon is a military facility. But yes, I think that is an example of the lessons that have been learned by the U.S. military over the last 2 decades with the wars in Iraq, with the wars in Afghanistan, that you are going to provide any level of access to your service members that need that, because again, they're in stressful situations and they are still dealing with a lot of issues on the personal side from back home. And when we talk about suicidal ideation, one of the things that is a common factor is personal issues. So yes, having a dog there as a therapy dog is an accessible thing. I think one of the changes that we've seen.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of changes. Louis Martinez, thank you so much. And if you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, you can text or call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. Help is always available 24/7. Straight ahead, researchers say sharks may be able to hunt more than just prey. Why some think they could be used to predict hurricanes. Plus, the changes coming to your candy. We'll take you inside the lab, giving some of your sweet treats a makeover.
Okay, what are you searching for today? What's hot, trending, totally unexpected?
This is Search, the new show, the only show revealing the top searches of the day in real time.
So let's get right to it. Maya, what are people searching for right now?
Come on now, we all do it.
Right, we all search. Breaking news, sports, pop culture.
A real housewife caught up in a real spy scandal.
Let's get to this story that's now blown up online.
So take a break from scrolling just for a few minutes
and see what's being searched right here, streaming every day.
Breaking at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Eastern Time on ABC News Live.
You dance expensive. 12 of the world's greatest dancers will live together and compete to become a pro dancer on the next season of Dancing with the Stars.
Game time, baby. I've put everything on the line for this.
This is my dream.
I want to see you fight for it.
That could be on Dancing with the Stars tomorrow.
It's what I do, so effortless, now watch me move.
I've decided it's my alpha day. I need to send a message that says I am hyper competent.
Someone bring a gurney.
I don't need anyone's help.
What have you done?
And I don't love strip clubs, but I can sit at the bar and eat wings.
Are you willing to sacrifice everything for this job?
Gotta stay focused.
Yeah.
Should we introduce you first?
Most people know me from Vanderpump Rules, but I'm a mom, a wife, a podcaster. I'm traumatized by reality TV, but I can't stay away from it.
It's like if they're not on your payroll, they don't get to be in your life. Am I here to ice anyone out?
When you said that,
Don't cut me off. I showed up for you.
This time I get to do it on my terms. What could go wrong?
House of Stassi, now streaming on Hulu.
From great whites to hurricane hunters, scientists hoping to use underwater predators to better forecast hurricanes. Researchers are fitting sharks with trackers now to help keep tabs on warming water temperatures. Our Rhiannon Alley shows us how it works.
Just this week, spectacular footage as a drone captured more than 50 sharks feasting on fish off the coast of Long Island. And in Maine a few days ago, a couple spotted 2 great whites swimming along Saco Bay. Now, researchers at the University of Delaware want to tap into that power, helping develop these special electrical tags.
We give them a backpack and a job, basically.
Professor Aaron Carlisle is one of the scientists employing the predators of the sea to hunt hurricanes. This video shows the team placing the tags on the dorsal fins of sharks to track water temperatures at various depths across their ocean travels, making sure not to hurt the sharks.
We want the animals to be very happy and healthy, otherwise they won't give us the data we want.
Scientists have been tagging sharks for years, but typically the data only revealed where they go and where they live. But now these new sensors will provide real-time water temperatures.
So you can think of it as, the hotter the ocean is, it's going to be like a hurricane stepping on the gas of the hurricane, right? It's going to make it go faster, be stronger. Whereas if there's a colder water, it's going to be putting on the brake.
The professor says sharks are great for this because there are a lot of them spread across vast areas, and researchers can reach them better than many protected mammals in the sea.
So the more information we have about what's going on in the ocean in front of those hurricanes, the better we're going to predict what the impact of that hurricane is going to be, both in the ocean but also in coastal communities, which we care very much about.
Researchers just received their latest batch of tags, so over the next few months, they'll spend that time tagging new sharks, hoping that they can help us better understand hurricanes. Back to you.
Rhiannon, thank you. Straight ahead. This cat may look like Garfield, but she's skipping the lasagna. Why Pumpkin had to drop some pounds after the break.